future. But I'm going to pass it to Priyanka, who's going to be moderating this panel.
Thanks a lot, Jared. I'm so excited to be here with all these esteemed panelists. I know this is the last session. We want it to be interactive, so please keep posting your questions. We want to hear what's top of mind for you so that we can have these panelists cover it. I'll be monitoring that. Now, before we get deep into AI, why don't we go around the panel? Tell us more about your company and your focus, go-to-market focus for 2024. It could be AI, it could not be AI, but what is your top priority? Let's start with you, Jesse.
Yeah, hey everybody, Jesse Dailey. I run solution engineering and customer success at People AI. Prior to this, I spent 10 years with Salesforce. I've been in the go-to-market space for a while. So People AI is the AI data platform. We're the only game in town when it comes to summarizing and fueling AI models for go-to-market. We take all the different signals out there, conversational intelligence, emails, meetings, basically everything your team is doing, we enrich it and we feed it into your AI models. So that's what People AI is doing.
Over to you, Aditya.
Hey everyone, super excited to be here. Thanks, Priyanka. This is Aditya, co-founder and CEO at Avoma. Fun fact, Avoma stands for a very organized meeting assistant. And that's really essentially what we do. It's an AI meeting assistant. It summarizes and records all your calls, all conversations, and then provides all the intelligence on top of that for your go-to-market team, success, customer success, or sales teams as well. And there's a lot of components about coaching and initiatives there as well. Priyanka, you asked what my priorities for the next year are going to be as a founder and CEO. Obviously, we are all aware of these 4 dirty words, do more with less. So we are not separate. So we are also monitoring what are different areas that we can continue to optimize our efficiency, both our customer-facing go-to-market efficiency, but also internal operational efficiencies. And the top of the mind right now, how we are currently operating, we have a product-led and sales-assisted motion. So we have a free trial. People can come in and sign up. It's pretty straightforward on the website. It's all pricing and everything is transparent. But then we also have sales-assisted motion where if you want to talk to somebody, we also have salespeople as well. And so managing these 2 different go-to-market motions, now we are trying to understand, okay, what are the different segments, market segments that we have, where we have the highest kind of efficiency, which customer segment is the highest profitable. So we're looking at those, and based on that, we're trying to optimize. So we are trying to create these segments like SMB segment, mid-market segments. And based on those segments, now we are thinking, okay, the tools and innovation or automation that we need to do will be different for each different segment. So we don't want to come up with, let's automate everything. I don't think that's the right way of thinking about it. So definitely we're automating the things where the margins are lower, so invest more. But if the margins are better in some kind of market segment, we want to continue to give the best class experience to our customers. So that's kind of the initiatives that I'm thinking of for the next couple of quarters.
Cool, thank you. Jonathan.
Thank you. Yeah, excited to be joining everybody today. I apologize if there's any background music. Got delayed getting back, actually from Six Senses Breakthrough Conference. So there's some country music in the hotel lobby. I'm founder and CEO of The Juice. We're a B2B content platform. B2B professionals can sign up and access content that's curated and recommended for them based on their role, their industry, and what they're interested in. And for brands, that means a syndicated experience and a custom-built audience for them. Really excited to be here. I'd say our 2024 focus, I think it's easier than ever for companies, teams, marketers specifically to create generic content. The barriers to entry have never been lower there. So I think proprietary data, your own data, sharing that is what's going to stand out in 2024. So we're thinking about actually like kind of turning our platform inside out in terms of the content that we're creating and sharing with our audience. We're going to be sharing a lot of proprietary data from our platform, how people are engaging with content, what they're engaging with, what they're interested in. And we've just started doing that here at the tail end of 2023 and really excited to do more of it in 2024.
Thank you, Jonathan. Rabi?
Hi, yeah. Hello, everyone. Excited to be here. I'm co-founder, CEO of EvaBot. What we are doing is basically using AI to help do really, really deep research on your prospects and accounts. We believe that this new technology has, just like internet, has enabled a new capability. And so while we were doing like AI for corporate gifting before, this product that we are building. While we started building this product, we also realized, how it can impact go to market. So coming back to your question, Priyanka, I think for us, the product in itself, in a way, has helped. Whatever we are building, we are dog fooding. Doing really, really, like, the product has helped us, decrease the overall research time on each prospect and account from like 30 minutes to a couple of minutes. So that's like 10x improvement in the productivity. And that is what I believe this technology is able to do. Like, so we are able to hit our meeting numbers and like opportunity numbers with the same number of SDRs and BDRs, but at least 10x more efficient. So that's what we are building. Excited to share, of course, more about this technology, what we are doing, and yeah, super excited to be here.
Thank you. And I'm Priyanka Sahay. I'm your moderator for this session. I currently lead the product marketing team at AirSafe. That's a company for document management and workflow automation. And I have go-to-market experiences for over past 12 years, more recently at LinkedIn. So without further ado, now let's get into the deep of AI and let's dissect into use cases across the customer journey, starting first with marketing. So Jonathan, can you tell us a little bit more about how content marketing specifically is getting disrupted or enhanced, either of those, with AI, whether it's the content generation, consumption aspect of it?
Yeah, I'd say it's all being disrupted, right? And I think that's why it's an exciting time and also a scary time for marketers. On our platform, what we've seen as a trend is that I think in the early days, a lot of people were hypothesizing about what AI meant for the future of their role, their industry, their business, their audience. And what we've seen recently, actually 25% of all content engagements on our platform are with content about AI. Not surprising, but if you look within that 25%, what is surprising is now the vast majority of that engagement is with people want to know how to use AI. I think the days of talking about what does the future of AI mean for XYZ are over. People know it's here and people are interested in how to use it. So I think those of us that can not only think about how our business is using it, but help educate our audience on what to do with it will win in 2024.
Got it. Now moving further down into the funnel with prospecting. And let's start with you, Jesse, first. How do you see AI influencing the prospecting side of the funnel? What's different? What's unique? And how should our audience think about it?
Well, I think you just need to look at my inbox to know how AI is changing prospecting right now, because it's very easy to find me and email me. The problem is if I'm a buyer for you, you're not cutting through the noise. So the challenge that I think we're all going to have to face as sales teams is you have to come up with different ways to prospect, because outbound email as a channel is probably dying or changing pretty dramatically. So I think we'll see a couple. Here are the trends that I predict. I think firstly, people will be able to evaluate products easier than ever before through demo automation and demo delivery. That's something that we'll start to see. Even for enterprise sellers, I think we'll start to see a streamlining of the old way of selling as things become more modernized. And then on top of that, all of the the enterprise sales process and all the sellers out there, it's going to be more of a relationship. I actually predict it will be more of a relationship oriented sale than you would imagine, because we're going to be awash with chatbots and LLMs and marketing specific content. It's just too much digital stuff. So in a weird way, I anticipate a little bit of backlash where relationships, who knows who, getting your customers into a room, your prospects into a room, and the personal connections will be strengthened by that. Now, here's the trick. If you don't have AI, it's actually kind of hard to know about all those relationships and all those dynamics, because that's a pretty complex web of information. So you need really good data on who are the relationships, who are the people that can connect me into deals to help me sell. So I predict a bleak outlook for outbound emailers and folks that spend their career doing that. And you just need different techniques to cut through the noise.
Got it. And we'll dig a little deeper into that in a while. Rabi, anything else to add on the prospecting side that you're seeing?
Yeah. So I think I agree with the point that, outbound email is dead, but I would actually pinpoint to that, template-based outbound email is dead, right? With current AI technologies, I think it's possible to actually cut through the noise and start building relationships from day zero. Just to give you our example, like for us as well, I mean, my CRO said that, hey, email for us is dead. Like, let's even cancel outreach and stuff like that. And we were like, okay, let's build, like, if we are building this product, let's try this, right? And when we started using our own product, we realized that it's not that email as a channel is dead. It's more like, because as you rightly said, Jesse, like everyone is using AI and they are using templates. So basically, buyer on their side have already, mentally started filtering out these emails. So even if you look like a subject, that it's not personalized. It's actually like a spam or templatized email. So one is that, with new technologies, I think it's possible to go really, really deep in terms of understanding your prospects. And then, so think of like, what I'm thinking is, see, like fundamentally, sales is about two things. One is people buy from people they like and trust, right? And the second part is a buyer, and an informed buyer is always in lookout for a solution that can help solve their pains, right? Now, the only thing that is changing here is that AI is going to make a lot of this, cookie cutter approaches, to zeros. Like, so you have to go back to fundamentals of selling, which is relationship building, as Jesse rightly said. But with this AI, what will happen is even regular SDRs or regular people, like normal people like us, can actually behave like 1%, top 1% of the salespeople. That is what the AI can help you do. So it's more like giving you superpowers, and then everyone's level is elevated in terms of, as we are seeing in coding, right? Everyone's level is elevated because most of the cookie cutter coding or like software can actually be written by AI, and then you can think at like one level above. So it's same, I believe, is going to happen in sales, where basic research, very deep level understanding of the prospects and the accounts will be at your fingertips. Now it's up to you, how more creatively can you think, right? How can you train your own in sort of like assistant to be much better at understanding you, and then the ability to kind of build relationships. So yeah, that's what we think and we are building towards.
Cool. And then in the sales process, sales coaching is a very important topic. Like, how should managers think about coaching their reps? What has changed in that sphere? Aditya, can you walk us through things that you're seeing at that end?
Thanks, Priyanka. I think sales, once the prospecting is done, once you have the pipeline is there, obviously the first thing people want to do, have conversations. Salespeople live and breathe and how well the conversations are being done, and they want to progress those conversations to eventually to close. I think the way I think about this problem, what's happening right now, and also what's going to continue to get amplified in 2024, is these two things, what we call efficiency and effectiveness. And efficiency is all about identifying all the tasks, the low value tasks that the reps are today doing, and how can you automate as many of those tasks as possible for the end-to-end workflow that they do. And effectiveness is about all the high value tasks that they do and try to augment those, as Rabi mentioned, like giving them superpowers to improve their ability to have these conversations in a more effective way so that their performance, their conversions are higher. So not only you want to reduce the time and save the time in automations, but you also want to improve the performance conversion rates and outcome of every single interaction that they're having with the prospects. So when you try to break these things down, let's take first example, the efficiency, the time saving related part. Obviously, we have seen in the last few years the plethora of these AI assistant tools. We are part of that, where it's automating the note taking, it's automating the CRM data entry. We still haven't seen full adoption of these technologies yet. I think we are still at the tip of the iceberg here. So I'm going to see more and more companies adopt these. This is number one activity that reps had, doing the manual data entry. So we are going to see CRMs which are auto-generated. the whole generative AI, you're going to see a CRM that's going to be a leader, which is going to be a automatically generated CRM. So there's the expectation is that I don't have to do the manual data entry. CRM is smart enough. It knows who I talked. It's automatically populating the data. So all the HubSpots and the Salesforce of the world are going to see a completely new reincarnation of their automatically populated. So that's one thing in general from an efficiency point of view. You take that to the effectiveness. Now, this is where reps are still getting knowledge about coaching feedback from the leadership, from their management. And historically, again, in the last 4 or 5 years, we have seen tools like Avoma and Gong and Chorus have helped people to understand what's happening in the conversation intelligence from a coaching point of view. But the expectation was that the managers still have to go and listen to those calls, which they don't have time. And so you have to take this to the next level. What's going to happen is now we are analyzing all of this data. We still, even today, when I look at it, how we are managing our own team, we still go and listen to their calls. We still have to spend time. But the first thing we did was we started automatically scoring calls. So rather than me randomly cherry picking a call, the AI is doing automatically scoring of each and every single call and highlighting some important topics for us. But I think the next level we are going to see is now people are going to see the role plays. My prospects have shared a lot of objections. They are doing typically how I engage with the prospect, and AI is going to automatically generate a prospect for me. So there will be prospects with whom I will be able to do a role play so that my managers don't have to come and do this. So I'm going to be able to play with some virtual AI prospect and really pitch, and my industry knowledge, my segment that I go after, this AI prospect is going to actually do a role play. It's going to throw objections at me, and I'm going to really practice my skills that I'm learning on a real live call. So we will continue to see a lot more innovation in the generative AI, both on the coaching side, but also on the generative CRM side as well.
Very interesting. AI is able to do role plays that managers mostly are spending most of the time, in addition to the ability to coach reps on things that they need to improve. There's a question from the audience. I'll pose it to the panel and anyone can jump in. What is a great and affordable CRM automation tool that you think is standing out right now? And I'll add to that, why?
So I'll start with that. The answer is going to be People AI, because that's what we do. So People AI, what we do is we automate all the data entry for salespeople, and this ranges from emails, meetings, every persona they meet with. So we're a great solution for that if you're looking for a vendor out there, because this actually requires a lot of sophistication, and that's why there's not a lot of players in this space that do like automatic CRM for you, because matching it to your business data, finding the right opportunities, doing all this stuff is inherently very complex. And let me explain this. I'll frame it up in the way of the question, Priyanka, that you were asking about around coaching. So when you think, when was the last time you sat in a deal review? Most deal reviews and coaching sessions that like sales leaders give you are really just an interrogation of what's happened in the deal so far. And our dumb sales brains can't even process all the stuff that happens in a deal. Like you'll meet 35, 40 people to win $1 million deal, maybe more. The amount of people that you engage with internally and externally, and that web of relationships, like most sellers and most sales coaches can only focus on like one or two of those things. But all these other interactions are required because buying groups are huge. They're massive these days. Now, this is the really cool thing about AI. Without AI, an AI will become a better coach than your sales leaders will become. This is something I firmly believe in, a kind of a trend that we'll see sort of taking off. But you need the data. You need to understand every beat in a deal. What are the stories that have happened? What are the meetings that we've had? What do we talk about in those meetings? Who's been emailing back and forth? Which personas have we talked to? With all this stuff, then when you give it to an AI model that's trained or fine-tuned on your data set, it can start making real recommendations. So the role of a sales coach is going to change pretty dramatically. And it already has. Middle managers took like a beat down in the last year. Like every sales leader I know has like 4 more people on their team. So they can't coach on every deal anymore. They can only dig into a few. And AI is going to pick up the slack on that. So there's a really bright future for AI in the world of deal coaching. But the only way it works is if you have really good data. Otherwise, it becomes an irrelevant Microsoft paperclip that like pops up, but isn't really that useful. And we're seeing a lot of like AI solutions that promise great things, but don't have a good data set to power off of.
Thank you, Jesse. And a segue to that, and Rabi, maybe this is something that you can answer, is data is very important. The data set you train your AI models, otherwise it's garbage in, garbage out. How should the audience think about making their data set ready for enterprise go-to-markets, an enterprise audience, and how should they think about pricing when the time is right for incorporating AI within their product set?
Yeah. So one thing about this, if we are specifically talking about say LLMs and generative AI, is that it is already trained on a ton of data. So fine tuning on a small database doesn't work, right? Like models don't work that well if it's trained on small data. So what basically you have to think about is like the context and the prompt length, right? So all these technologies, including like GPT-4, they have limitations in terms of how many input prompts it can take and output prompts it can generate, right? So and that kind of controls the output, the quality of the output, less hallucinations, more than anything else. Like so I think we are at a stage right now where everyone is trying to increase the capacity of tokens that they can take, right? All of that. So we are at very early stages. So I think the way to think about data is that whatever data you have, how much context you can give to an AI or LLM based on that, whatever data you have, and then how really you can do prompt engineering and make sure that hallucinations are very, very less. So that is one thing. The other piece is the pricing, right? Like, so I think LLMs right now at a stage where it's more like when internet was started, it's clunky, it's slow, it's like all of that. And for example, the results, the quality of output from GPT 3.5 to 4 is enormous, right? So although GPT 3.5 is faster, cheaper, all of that, but when you look at the results of GPT 4, you will not want to go back to 3.5, right? So when you build a product, think of it like building a product when cloud just became possible, right? So you start with enterprise because the pricing can kind of match, right? Even though you will have less, say, margins to begin with. But what will happen is as the technology gets cheaper over next 2 to 3 years, you will have better margins. But if you start with a lot of freemium type of products, you would have to kind of either give it for a cheaper price, cheaper quality, or you will not be able to give a high quality product to your customers. So those are, I think, some of the things we have to think about while we build on this technology.
Thank you. So there's a lot of unknown, but there is a way of thinking of how to approach this when we have the right conviction in the model and the product that we're delivering. Jonathan, a question for you is, how is AI used in the content space within the juice?
Yeah, so I think someone said earlier, garbage in, garbage out, and I think that's always going to be the case for some of the generative AI tools, at least in our current state. But I think what's cool is it can be the inverse of that, can be really high quality inputs can lead to really high quality outputs. What we're thinking about is, from somebody's entire brand content library, what's their brand voice? What are they talking about? What's the data that they have that's unique to them? And how does that actually get turned into an output using generative AI? I think the other critical thing for marketers to think about, I think this panel, all of us in the tech industry have been really good at adapting the technology. And I think it's important to understand that we are probably the earliest adopters in the bell curve of this tool, right? So soon, even the content we produce, even our own sales process, the acceleration of how our audience is going to be using AI is only going to pick up over time. So I think it's important to think about not only how are our businesses using AI, but what are our consumers, what are our buyers doing with AI to our brand. They're not going to read a 15-minute ebook, right? They're going to drop that link into ChatGPT and ask for a summary, right? So can we do that for them? Should we be producing an ebook? I think it's really important to think about not only what does AI mean for us, but what does AI mean for our audience, and how are they going to use it? What are the consumer use cases for AI as well?
Got it. So being very specific and targeted to what the audience needs and building on that. One of the things that most of the organizations are struggling with is how to think about data and privacy as they think about AI. So Jesse, a question for you is like, what guardrails should people think about as they build AI products and AI models within the organization to ensure that there is data security and privacy?
Yeah, well, we have a whole group of people out there that are paid to keep AI out of enterprises and out of go-to-market. They're called CISOs. They're called heads of IT. Like, they're going to move very cautiously on this stuff. So most large enterprises and even smaller companies have restricted OpenAI. Even at People AI, I can't go to OpenAI with my People AI login. I have to do it on my phone when nobody's looking. So the idea that AI, the public models of AI that we see, that's not what the future of go-to-market or enterprise AI is. It's just too sensitive. The data that you need to put into an AI to get a good response. So I think where the shift is going to happen is we're going to see hosted LLMs, hosted in secure public platforms like Azure and AWS, which are applications that aren't plugged into the larger ChatGPT ecosystem. They're kind of isolated for specific scenarios. And we're already starting to see some of that. When you move up market, we're also seeing what I'll call private LLMs, or LLMs that are run local to an organization. So this is a Fortune 500 company. They've already got a data science team. They've already got AI technology running internal to their organization, and they don't need a bunch of other models that can deliver different use cases. They want, hey, I've got an LLM. Let's just put it all into there. So these are the companies that are going to be hungry for data and less hungry for LLMs. And I think this is the bigger point here is LLMs are already commoditized. There's slight differences between Bard, ChatGPT, Llama, you name it. There's advantages to each of these, but we're all running in the same direction. And pretty soon, LLMs are all going to look the same. So it's raining LLMs. It's raining chatbots. The winners at the end of the day have really good data to feed into it. So I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record here, but this is the competitive differentiator for go-to-market, having good data to understand how are your teams executing. And then that's really interesting to feed into your LLMs, whichever strategy you decide to go with.
Yeah, it's interesting that we always go back to the first principles. Data and what you build off that data is the most differentiating aspect for that. And that is a good segue to something that we're seeing in the market. There's so many products out there that talk about AI. And there are some that tout about niche solutions with AI. Some are more all-in-one solutions. So Aditya, could you help the audience understand how should they be evaluating as a buyer the products out there? What is unique to them? What would make a better sense versus the others? Because sometimes it becomes all marketing language, and it's hard for the buyer to understand of who is the player that would help them solve their use case.
Yeah, Priyanka, you asked me a hard question. I feel the buyers, today's B2B buyers. I am actually right now in the process of evaluating a couple of tools, and oh man, it's painful to identify the differences. So here we had this wave early on, 2015 to 2020 till, where the best of the breeds tool, like point of solutions tools, were there. So it was very easy. I have this problem. I'm going to buy this SaaS. Now what's happening is, because of the AI differentiation and AI platforms are available, every company is able to bring this kind of AI tech into their solution tech. And now everyone is trying to expand into adjacent use cases. And so pretty much now everyone is doing every single use case. And as a buyer, when I'm trying to evaluate, somebody has some core strength but they're also doing 2 or 3 other things that are adjacent to other competitors that they had. And now I have to go and pick and choose that, okay, do I still go with this all-in-one tool, or do I go with the best of the breed, knowing that I'm not going to use the 90% of the functionality, but I'm going to still pay them. And so that's when the buyers are actually struggling. Should I save the cost? Because obviously what 2022 taught us was this, spend less, be financially, have responsible kind of execution from a go-to-market point of view. Early on, everyone was buying anything. And so now the money was free. Somebody says that I need this another tool. Sure, go ahead and buy that tool. Now every single tool is being kind of recognized that, okay, do we really need this? What's the ROI is going to be? And at that time, I think we are seeing the trend of best of the breed. So the consolidation of tool is happening for, I would say, definitely for the sales and sales tech and the revenue tech. For sure, we have seen in our own space also many companies are acquiring other companies and trying to provide the similar offerings as well. And some companies are taking more of a build versus kind of partner or buy approach. But at the same time, the buyers are still struggling, and that's when I feel them. And to me, to Jesse's point earlier, Jesse mentioned that people.ai might be a great solution for getting the data automated into CRM, and it would be. And so you have to understand again your use cases. What is the segment? What kind of buying uh, expectations, billing terms you want? What kind of core pain that you have? Where are you willing to give up on the adjacent use cases that are not the best of the breed? So I think there's no one silver bullet answer, Priyanka, here, but I do believe that buyers are going to evaluate, okay, am I locked in an annual contract, or am I having a more consolidated solution? I'm going to try it. If I'm not happy, then I can get another best of the buy tool. What's happening is that people are buying these annual contracts and they're stuck with it, and they realize that my hands are burned. I did not use most of the functionality, 70-80% functionality was useless, and the tools were really expensive because obviously the go-to-market is expensive, and so people charge more. And now buyers are realizing that I'm not running my go-to-market efficiently. And so there is this now cascading effect. So then buyers are actually canceling your accounts. Then every company is struggling. Then the revenue retention is lower. They start laying off people. And so this is where the cascading effect is happening. So to me, the way I look at this whole change in market ecosystem that's happening, I do believe that the tools will get all in one more and more, because at the end of the day, that's what buyers' best experience is. They don't want to juggle between 5 tools and have another people hire more people to go and plumb these tools together. From a cost saving perspective, they're finding these tools more affordable. And also from a billing and commitment point of view, they're going to look for tools which are more buyer friendly. So those are the trends I'm seeing what's happening right now. But those are my thoughts. Happy to hear what the rest of the panel thinks.
Got it. Thanks a lot, Aditya. We have a question from Malena. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. We're talking a lot about data. And so her question is, how do you define good data?
Yeah, so I was kind of addressing this in the chat, so I'll jump on it a little bit. So when you look at kind of like the early stages of AI, like the last 5 years or so, a lot of companies, I'm not going to name a big CRM, but they launched like an AI platform, right? And the challenge I think that these early AI platforms have is it's based, like when you're predicting something on CRM, it pulls down your opportunity. What does my opportunity look like? Well, I have a competitor, I have a stage, how fast is it moving? Like that's not the data that drives how good this interaction is going. Like, is this a healthy deal or not? The field data that you get inside of CRM just doesn't cut it. So in order, good data to me in go-to-market looks like every persona is identified, every meeting is characterized and tagged with the nature of that meeting, every procurement person you meet with, every sales interaction needs to go into your AI model, and then it can finally predict a good next step. Otherwise, it will just be super generic and frustrated to sellers. I think that's what we've seen so far, where it's like, hey, how healthy is my deal? Is basically based off of how quickly the sellers have updated their opportunity stages and little more. And that's why everybody's kind of jaded on coaching for go-to-market sellers, at least. So yeah.
And how long do you feel, or how much data is needed? Like, how long would these models need to get more savvy around predicting and interpreting it, and how much of information should be fed into that?
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem we've had so far, and I think somebody else, I think Rabi made this point. There's too little data. Like when you analyze your go-to-market activity, your go-to-market opportunities, pipelines, stuff like this, it's very limited to. It's not a ton of data. Tens of thousands of transactions, hundreds of thousands. Like we need millions or billions of interactions to get to like full prediction. So I think that but then you kind of go the other direction into like big data and when is too much data too much. So you need to have like a summary layer or a way of like categorizing and pulling out the key moments to feed that into the AI model, because there are limitations on LLMs and how much data it can ingest before it just gets confused and gives up. So there has to be an intermediary in there where it's like, take that big data set, turn it into like what is actually going on, and then feed that into the AI model. So you kind of miss a step if you just go big data LLM, it will puke on you. So you have to do a little bit more work before you go down that path.
Yeah, Jesse, and I think that's important. It goes back to what Aditya was saying about in the buying side, like go deep on what AI are you buying. I think there's so many companies right now that are checking a PR press box by saying they have AI in their platform, and that can mean a lot of different things. So, maybe don't take them at their word for just saying they have AI, but go really deep and understand what it means, because I think that's something else. Depending on the model, depending on how they're using it, it might take 6 months for that AI to actually do anything meaningful for you. Like you might not get the day one value out of it that, maybe we're used to getting with pre-AI products, right? So I think it's really important to really go deep on understanding what the AI is you're buying during the buying process.
That's such an important point, Jonathan. I think what the audience should take away from this is there is a time to value equation for any product you buy. It's not going to deliver value on day one because there's a learning that needs to happen from your data and your understanding of your customers and users to help predict the outcome that would be beneficial for your organization. And so when you evaluate solutions, keep that in mind when you are doing that.
And this is why, so I agree with that. And also, like, I think sophisticated AI solutions should have the capability to pull in the existing data set. If you don't, like, if you're not creating data right now about your go-to-market team, your AI doesn't have a shot, right? But you probably are. You probably have CRM data. You probably have like lead flow marketing data. You probably have sales activity data. It's just in all these different places. So a sophisticated tool should be able to pull all that in. So as we've been experimenting with it internal to People AI, we're actually starting to see the time to value reduced to like right away, because AI doesn't care. It doesn't know what time it is or like what month it is. It could go back. It could go forward. Well, it can't go forward. It could go back and analyze all the data and start to predict the trends pretty quickly. If you have it, if you have the information to feed the model, then it can get going. It's the dataless organizations that are going to struggle at this point.
Got it. There's a lot of comments in the chat saying there's little guidance on how to help RevOps buy AI solutions. So there's a lot of interest in that space on helping our buyers evaluate AI products, because many vendors out there are talking about AI. On the Rabi, I think you mentioned a little early on the prospecting side, is that one trend that we're seeing is that when you have you can't throw people at a problem now when you need to build pipeline. Like it can't be like hiring SDRs. And the second thing we're seeing is that there's a lot of outbound messages going out that seem like similar. And so how should the audience think about cutting through the noise when they think about reaching prospects, as well as building a very healthy pipeline?
Yeah, so I'll basically add 2-3 points here. One of course is think about the fundamentals, right? Like, so as I said, like if you actually want to reach out to someone, and like suppose I want to reach out to Jesse and Aditya, those two approaches should be very different, right? maybe with Aditya, I'll talk about maybe cricket and like back our old days. Like Jesse, I'll talk about maybe football or something, right? Um, it's also not disingenuous in a way because every seller wants to basically feel empathetic towards the person they are trying to sell to, and they want to learn more about them, right? So even though I might not be interested in football, but if I know Jesse loves it, like, or loves a team, I would like to get to know more about it so that we can talk on common interests. So that is one example. The other is, if I actually do a very deep research on people.ai or Avoma, I'll be able to have a much better conversation with my prospects, right? Now, this is fundamental. You know that if you do this correctly, your response rate would increase. The only problem is people don't do that, and they just look at very simple things like, oh, I saw your company raise Series A. Oh, I saw you recently switched jobs, right? I saw that, oh, it's your work anniversary. And oh, I saw that it's your birthday on LinkedIn. And you know how many people actually messaged me on my birthday on LinkedIn? Like, I'm not looking at any of those messages, right? So the thing is that, like some of the things have now become so common that they are not personalized at all. So you have to go at least 2 to 3 levels deep to basically hit a connection, and to also kind of show that you actually did the research on the person, right? So that is first part. The second part is, most of the data is like, and like now we are getting back into the data zone. Most of this data we talk about already exist, right? People's LinkedIn exists for years, people's Facebook profiles, Twitter, all, like, there's a lot of data. And like for companies, like there's ton of data on the company in terms of news, their website. If it's a public company, like public earnings call, 10K reports, there is ton of data, right? The second important thing, basically LLMs are really good at, as I mentioned previously, looking at unstructured data and kind of giving you answers if you ask the right question. So this gives us a new ability. Like a lot of people, like me, for example, I was kind of good at asking questions, but I was not good at, like, uh, filtering through data, right? I'm not a data scientist, for example. But with LLMs, what has happened is, everyone can be a data scientist now. Just feed in like PDFs and stuff and just ask questions, and it will give you answers, right? Most of the time it will be correct. So that is a new ability that everyone has now. And how do you utilize this ability to now look at everything, including prospecting, right? So when we start looking at prospecting, okay, if you just look at someone's LinkedIn profile, there is a lot of data in that. For example, this person actually volunteered, or as a basketball coach during his college days, right? Now, this information will be hidden somewhere in the profile, and no one has time to kind of look at all these things, right? Now, just based on, say, this idea that, okay, this person actually was a basketball coach, lives in San Francisco, might be interested in Warriors, right? So let me look at Warriors news, what happened here, right? All of this, you know, inference analysis takes time and really smart people to do that, right? Or practice. All of this is now possible with AI. And that, I believe, is the new ability that all of us has. And there will be a lot of tools, including us, that will try to kind of uh, humans are also like very bad at typing things, right? Like so chat is a good interface to access maybe chat GPT and LLMs, but it's not a great interface to do your regular work, right? So if I tell you that, hey, this is like 100 words you have to type for every prospect in your GPT box, no one will do that, right? So everyone likes clicking stuff and then automating stuff, right? So there is this capability that now you can crunch a lot of data like this, and then you can have I mean the importance of great UI and great UX and great ideas is not going to diminish. Like it's just a new ability that allows you to now build on top of it. And that is where I believe how AI can actually help us, you know, get new superpowers and do great things. And
Got
everyone's
it.
expectation is also super high, right? Like, for example, uh, if AI can now imitate anyone's voice and face and create videos and all of that, then why would I expect like a lame email from someone? Right? Like the expectation is really really high. And so that is where I believe, products will improve a lot, and expectation of the buyer will also improve a lot.
There's a lot of potential and possibility with AI. Everyone can be a data scientist.
Exactly.
We all should feel accomplished. That actually gets us to a very interesting topic: is AI displacing jobs, or is it a reskilling? And so this is for the entire panel. Is it job displacement or reskilling, and which roles are going to be impacted the most? Aditya, go ahead.
I do believe it is going to displace some jobs for sure. And it is going to require those people to reskill themselves. The way I think about this is very high level. What are the jobs which are strategic, and what are the jobs that have been very tactical? I do believe that the more your job is strategic in the value chain, you don't have to worry immediately, at least. I think that's when the human intelligence will still be the most important involvement that you would need, and your talent and your skills will be still valued. The more and more you're tactical, so Rabi mentioned a couple of examples. If I look at it, outbound as an example, yes, strategic outbound, yes, humans and SDRs would still shine and they would continue to be top performers. On the other hand, if all your job was inbound SDR, where you were asking basic questions, looking at just following up for simple inbound emails, so inbound SDRs would have to worry those things because you already have the data about those people, and you can try to get back to them in more automated way. Very similarly, take, let's say, partnership example. Rabi talked about programming. If you're talking about doing newer development, innovating, and breakthroughs, obviously more strategic, you would have to have your job secure. But then the ones you're just repeating the same thing that everyone has done, that's when the tactical part, you wouldn't have the job security. So I do believe that you have to evaluate where are you in the value chain, and how can you start getting to the strategic layer as quickly as possible. And while doing that, you have to reskill, leverage AI, obviously, to improve your efficiency, to improve some of the productivity. But then based on that, try to spend more time on being strategic and not spend time on doing data entry, manual stuff. And that's how I think about it.
Yeah, so we're on the cusp of the fourth big technical revolution. And at any step, you can look at the people that evolved or didn't evolve and where are they today. So if you were in a company that didn't put up a website in 1995, I don't know where you are today. If you didn't go move to cloud in the 2000s, I don't know where you are today. If you didn't develop mobile solutions in the 2010s, same story. And then this is AI. So this is the fourth revolution, and this could be the big one. Like next to internet, I think my personal prediction is this is the second biggest and maybe the biggest revolution that we're going to see in go-to-market and beyond. So I think you need to embrace the craziness of it, and learn from it. Because you're going to hear a lot more like do more with less and stuff like that. But people that have the ability to understand this and have when you embrace one of those last three treads, you could really rocket ship your career. So figure out what is your angle on the AI trend, or trend maybe underplayed it. What is the AI your angle on the AI revolution, and your understanding of how you can impact businesses with AI? Then you've got a long career ahead of you.
Yeah, and I think there were a few questions in the chat about, I think the reverse of this coin is it's absolutely going to create roles as well, whether that's from businesses growing faster because of how they're using AI, or completely new roles like prompt engineers. There's a lot out there that is still to be learned and we still don't know. So I think it is absolutely going to create roles as well. Roles are going to change, be redefined. And I think it's on all of us to continue to adapt to technology. I think we all have those parents that we help, understand how to use a printer or send an email. And I think our generation, the generation that has grown up with tech, is going to evolve quicker. And I think it's on all of us to find those new roles and those new opportunities as well.
Yeah, and I agree with all the points. I think, see, just like every other technology, I think what will happen is today, when most of the people in different industries, they start their jobs, they'll start with either an associate or a junior SDR or a junior engineer, things like that. I think the 3-4 years of basically the work that people do just to learn their industry and like basic like work, that will go away, because by default companies' expectations would be that you have done that, right? The AI today exists that can help you get to a level where you start with, say for example, today's senior developer or like a senior software engineer. You actually start at that point because everyone would expect you in whatever field you are to have those basic um, learnings, that you would have taken through some AI tool. So again, like I think that will happen, but yeah, there will be some displacement while we get to that point.
So what I'm hearing from the panel is that AI is one of the next revolutions, technology revolutions, and with every tech wave that comes, there is going to be jobs that are disrupted, that need to be reskilled, as well as new jobs that come up and new roles that come into equation. There's a question from Gary. It's like, we all know that this is coming. What is your advice to leaders on how should they brace themselves to effectively manage these changes to organizations, especially when there are teams that might be concerned about job changes? What are things that they should keep in mind as they build the new go-to-market teams or new organizational structure for their people?
I'll probably go first. I think we are definitely seeing a lot of AI tools. All organizations are going to start adopting these AI tools. But I would start thinking about, when you're applying AI for a particular problem, is this a reversible situation or reversible situation? And what I mean by that, anytime I see that you are deploying an AI solution that is engaging with, let's say, your clients or your prospects, those are high stake conversations, high stake touch points. And in those situations, I would not go and immediately deploy AI and start automating from day one. What I would do, I would still have human in the loop. I would still have human oversight to make sure it is, at the end of the day, the AI is helping you to generate the data, but you're not fully automating it. And you're augmenting the skills of that person who's still engaging. And so your buyers are not getting some crappy engagement from you or some completely inaccurate engagement from you. So even though it's 95% accurate, those 5% of the times when your AI reaches out to a prospect with completely bad experience, you are basically tarnishing your brand. And these kind of engagements, you cannot reverse it. And so I would be a little careful when you're deploying AI, when it's affecting your prospects and customers. Have a human oversight. So immediately the jobs are not at risk. So it's not that you're hiring an AI tool and you're immediately firing some of your team members. Have them, maybe don't hire more people. That's the first way, but have those same people can get more from them. That's basically what I would do it. So those are the kind of things I would still think about it when you're trying to deploy a new AI tool, while giving ammunition to existing team, and rather than getting them worried that, is it going to replace me? So that's my kind of 2 cents.
Got it.
Yeah,
Super helpful, Jesse. Oh, go ahead, Rabi.
Yeah, I'll just add one point that I think the other side of this can be that as a leader, you just completely stop your or ask your team not to use any of these technologies, and that would be the worst idea. So I think the best idea, of course, is to let everyone experience it, use it, try it out, do all of that which is required to open up your minds, and you will learn so much in that process, that in itself will basically help you as a leader in terms of taking the next steps.
One other thing I would add to that, almost every AI application use case that we're seeing right now is focused on some sort of, I wouldn't call it point solution, but sort of a narrow use case, ultimately, when it comes to run the whole enterprise. So the need to sort of range across different teams, marketing, sales, customer success, engineering, product management, and the interconnective tissue between all parts of a go-to-market organization, that's what you need people for, to help understand why is product doing it this way and how do I take that to market in the marketing team. So I would start thinking about when it comes to structuring your organization, who are the people that help connect these pieces, the muscles that connect the bones together. Maybe that's a tortured analogy, but like the tissue that connects everything together, because you can't just have it. I've yet to hear about AI running a whole enterprise. I think we're a long way away from that. I think it will do tasks, but what it will not do is help you run your whole go-to-market team or beyond. So that's the way I'd be thinking about it.
Jonathan, anything to add?
I just dropped it in the chat. I mean, I think like don't discount your learned experience. I think that is data that isn't quantitative, that we should all be gaining experience, and I'm a big believer in trusting our instinct. I think especially leaders who have earned that role, I think sometimes we're too slow to trust our instinct and just move fast.
Yeah, thank you. And I think Gary had a wonderful comment in the chat that I would like to read for the audience. Is I think leaders with empathy, transparency, excellency, cross-functional skills are the ones that would be required as we go into this next phase, especially if there are going to be more layoffs. And so there is a lot of that we can understand from like what are the strategic roles where we need people, what is the connective tissues, like what are the tasks that can be automated versus like people, how can we repivot people to new tasks or new roles as we embrace this new wave. We have had a super engaging conversation for the past almost 55 minutes, and I thank the panelists for the insights, whether it was going deep into the customer journey, as well as understanding the use cases where AI is getting prevalent, tackling the hard questions also about whether it's outbound prospecting being dead or it is about job displacements, how to think about data security, what is right, and how to think about what good data means, so the audience could understand that. So this has been super engaging, and thank you for the audience question all throughout this session. We had a very enjoyable conversation, and that's it from our side. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.